What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to work on the Tahoe. For reasons I don't really want to, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're up here at RPM Motorsports. I'm about to get this thing in the shop. So for those that follow the channel, you know I bought a Trailblazer just recently, and the goal was to sell the Tahoe to help fund the Trailblazer project. Well, I can't seem to sell it with the supercharger on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the supercharger off, pull the built trans out of it, the converter out of it. I'm going to leave the engine that's in it with the headers and cam and all the stuff to go with it, and then I'm going to put a less modified transmission in it with a different converter that'll work better for all motor stuff. Got the Tahoe. I cleaned it up really good, you know, in hopes that it would sell with the blower on it. If anyone's looking for a Tahoe, this thing will be naturally aspirated again here in about a day. I'm going to leave the fuel system in it, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I can find a four-wheel drive transmission that I can put in it that's built. Right now it has an RPM level 6 trans with like a really high dollar yank converter. It's set up for making about 700 horsepower. So I don't need that with a naturally aspirated engine. So that's going to come out as well. I'm going to get this thing in the shop real quick, and then we'll go over the supercharger and all that good stuff, and then we're going to start pulling it apart. So truth is, I'm going to miss having a supercharged Tahoe. This thing is a lot of fun. I've made 530 wheel horsepower, which everyone says isn't a lot, but trust me, when it makes 180 stock, it's a lot. And the thing is really drivable. It's never given me an issue. It's just not something that everyone wants, so the blower's coming off. Like I said, we're pulling it in the shop right now. This will be the last time I hear it run with a supercharger on it. It's kind of sad, but I'll pop the hood so that you guys can hear it run too. All right, so here it is. We've got the LSA supercharger, LS Simple front drive, a little intake tube that I made, water tank, and in the front there's a Z01 heat exchanger and a Z01 heat exchanger pump behind the bumper. So when I sell this, it's going to be everything: the whole front drive, the lid, the supercharger, the injectors, tank, heat exchanger, pump. It's going to be everything that you need to put this on a truck. It also has a billet throttle body adapter and billet intake adapters because square port blower, cathedral port heads. So what I'm going to do first is just get it set up on the lift and get some fluids out of this thing. All right, so with the front bumper off, you can see heat exchanger, nice and cool. I'll be selling this with the brackets and everything. So I'm going to go ahead, we're sucking the coolant out of the coolant tank because there's no drain on it. And then we're going to start tearing that off. So once I get these coolant lines off here, the next step is going to be to pull the lid. All right, so now that we have the lid off, the next step is to prep the blower to remove it, which basically just consists of getting the fuel lines off, unplugging the injectors, and getting the belt off, because the snout and the blower come off as one. So I'm gonna do that real quick and attempt to get this blower off by myself. All right, the blower's removed. Got to start working on the front drive. Here's the blower with the 255 upper and the square to cathedral adapter plates. That was heavy in case you were wondering. So I'm gonna tape up these intake ports. Everyone say hi. Tape up these intake ports, and then I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll get back on it tomorrow. Okay, we're back, day 2. I forgot GoPro batteries at the house. I'm at 58%, so hopefully I can finish this within this battery's life. So where we left off yesterday is we just pulled the blower off. Now we're gonna start taking the front drive apart, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. I do have to change the power steering pump pulley, but that shouldn't be that bad. I'm gonna leave this water pump on it. So this is an 07 up water pump. And then I'm just gonna get a different upper radiator hose so I don't have to have this stainless thing anymore. The rest of the bracketry should bolt right back on, which I've got in the back of the truck. So I don't think you guys really want to see me unbolt a bunch of stuff, so I'm just gonna get busy on it and I'll catch up with you in a minute. So here's the LS Simple bracket. This is how it comes. You do have to run a different power steering pulley. I've got the stock one sitting over there. So all your idlers, all your bolts, tensioner, and all your spacers ready to go back on. So what we have to do now is get the original truck bracket back over here, get my tensioner back on it, and then we throw a belt on it and an intake manifold. The only thing I have to do is find a set of injectors to put in it, and I've got to redo some wiring, like where I pinned out the IAT sensor, change the map sensor plug, stuff like that. No big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the truck bracket back on the head and the block here and keep rolling. All right, so we've got the bracket back on the truck. Here, the power steering pump's mounted, so I need to press the old power steering pulley on it, get the alternator on, and then there's an idler that goes here, tensioner here, and we can put the belt back on this thing. All right, alternator's back on, idler, tensioner, got the belt back on it, alternator's hooked back up. So the next thing I need to do is mess with the intake manifold, which I'll grab out of the back of the truck right now. Okay, so here's the original manifold, intake manifold. Got a new set of gaskets to go on it, and in here are flex fuel GM injectors. So I'm just gonna run these. The pigtails for the 85-pound injectors are the same. So all I have to do is put this intake back on there, and I should be in pretty good shape. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, put the gaskets on it, and throw it on the truck. All right, so we're moving right along. Got the intake back on with the throttle body. Injectors plugged in, coapacs plugged in. So now I got to do some wiring. So this is the IAT pigtail that I had to break out of the mass airflow harness. Stupid me, I cut the wires really short, but I should be able to fix that. And then this is the map sensor plug. So I was running a Z01 2.5 bar map. That's why I had to change the pigtail. So the map sensor on the stock intake's back there. So I need to change this pigtail, fix that, and plug everything in. After that, I have to figure out some sort of cold air because I sold the one that was on the truck. So I'm gonna dig around, see if I can find some parts. Rolling right along. After this is done, I need to drain the E85 out of it, put regular pump gas back in it so I can tune it, and then we'll switch back over to E85. All right, got the mass airflow plug fixed. It has the inlet air temp back in it. The map sensor is fixed, and I have my mass airflow sensor. So I'm going to try to come up with some sort of tube just so when I put a tune in this thing I can fire it up. All in all, this has been a pretty quick and easy project. So like I said before, I'm doing this because it was hard to sell the Tahoe with the blower on it. So now it's going to be cam headers, built trans, all that kind of stuff, but no more supercharger. So I'm going to finish buttoning up this wiring real quick, and then we're going to build this cold air. All right, so I was able to find some parts to put together a cold air intake real quick. Got a S&B filter, a cut-up K&N intake tube, the original mass airflow, and some silicones and some clamps. So the only thing I have left to do is drain the fuel, which I'm going to do after I grab some lunch. And then I am not very good at the tuning situation, so I'm going to wait for Ryan to get here to throw a tune in this thing, then I'm going to fire it up. I'll go ahead and get the grill back on and stuff like that, but that's really going to do it for removing the blower. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. I know you guys love the Tahoe, but we're moving on to a different project, and hopefully once I sell this thing, I can really get rolling on the Trailblazer. That guy. Johnny's still working on finishing up the paint, so as soon as that's done, I'll be able to really get rolling on it. So be sure that you guys follow me on Instagram. Looking for some more followers on there as always. You can always find High PSI TV merchandise in the description below. Stay tuned for some more videos. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.